Thank you for coming back to Ron's Basement. In this segment, we're going to dive a little deeper. We're going to go under the covers and look at some fascinating stories. We're going to talk about gold. We're going to talk about silver. We're going to talk about the mining stocks. We're going to talk about geopolitics. We're going to talk about the economy, and we're going to talk about everybody's favorite subject, the Federal Reserve and the central banks. We're going to put it all together, and we're going to see that the price of gold and the price of silver have a great support structure in place that could lead to much higher prices in the coming weeks, quarters, and months. I'm so glad you're here. Your thoughts matter. Your comments matter. Leave a comment in the comment section below, but let's get started on this journey together, you and me, right now. Hey everybody, it's Ron from Ron's Basement, live on the log flume with Lily. Lily, say hi. Before we get started on this fascinating journey together, I just want to remind you, you are never alone. I'm always just a click away. You're always welcome to join me here in Ron's Basement. You're doing it right now, okay? This is my right now. You're watching it in your right now. Your heart's beating. You're here with me in the basement. We love to talk about these subjects. We love to know that gold and silver are going higher, are a great store of value. I won't go on any longer about that. I'm going to beg you to please subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up. Leave a comment. We read all of your comments, and that's how we learn from you and about you. Now let's talk about gold. It had a great week last week. I mean, just back in September, October, it was at $1,600. Now it's well over $1,900 per ounce. Can this continue? Well, according to one person with a lot of money, it can continue. And I'm starting to wonder, is this person you? The person who on January 11th bought $230 million worth of gold off the COMEX. If you dig into the COMEX data, it clearly shows that one person, one entity on January 11th bought $230 million worth of gold. Now, I want to credit Rafi Farber in a video he did for Arcadia Economics for pointing this out. Thank you, Rafi. It's fascinating information. You probably don't like Debbie Downers, right? None of us do. But we also have to bear in mind that gold will not continue to just go straight up. It could. Anything can happen. That would be awesome. But we know it's a roller coaster ride. So be prepared financially and emotionally for the bumpy road that we may have ahead. Now, here's my question about gold. There was much ado over the last year made about this giant cup and handle pattern that had developed over the last 10 years or so on the gold chart. Look, I'm not a chartist. I'm not a technical guy, but everybody pointed it out, and it looked like a big cup with a little handle. And then gold went back down, and now it looks like it's making another handle. So here's my question. Maybe you're a technical guru. Is there such a thing as a cup and handle? And is that even more powerful than the cup and handle? Let me know in the comments below, because that's sure what the long-term gold chart looks like. And have you noticed that everything else for gold still looks good? We've got big brokerage houses starting to recommend gold. We've got Jeffrey Gundlach himself saying gold looks good for 2023. And the central banks continue to hold and buy more gold. I heard something about China and 100 million, crazy amounts of gold are being purchased by the Eastern Bloc countries. How much of your money do you have in the gold mining stocks, the silver mining stocks? They also had a very good week last week. And what's super interesting here, I'm not hearing anybody else take this up. BHP, the world's biggest miner, their stock is at an all-time high. That's great, but the big key here is it's a known fact that in a gold and silver mining stock rally, a healthy rally, the big miners lead the way. First, the big miners go up, then the intermediate producers, and finally the juniors, the explorers, they are the last to rally. And so far in this rally, it looks like that's what's taking shape. The big company, the biggest company, BHP, is leading the way. And the juniors, they're doing a little better. They're getting a little action, but they haven't really moved all that much yet. A lot of my juniors are kind of in the middle of their 52-week range, and a few of them are at the lower end of the range. So we could have, if this continues to develop in a healthy way, and we like healthy, right? We could have some spectacular returns for the mid-size and junior size gold and silver mining companies. I know I shouldn't say it. I hope I don't offend you, but I'm going to say it here in just 1 minute because we're going to talk about silver. Silver's doing very well, right? $24 per ounce, $24.40 per ounce. The silver market continues to march forward, forward, forward. We know the big story. I could go on for 15 minutes about the reasons why silver are a good investment. A lot of the gurus, right, say silver is still one of the most undervalued assets on the face of the earth. And on top of it, it's so pretty. There's a 10-ounce silver bar. 0.9999949s, whatever, pure. From what I've been told, that doesn't make that big of a difference between 0.999 and 0.949. Let me know what you know about that or think about that in the comments section below. I used to like to buy Canadian silver bars because they're also 4.9s, but then I read that, it doesn't really make this like nothing difference between 3.9s and 4.9s. I digress. What we need to touch on with silver is the continued struggle in the big exchange, in their inventories, in their vaults. The COMEX, the registered silver in their vaults, continues to drop precipitously. That could lead to some big, big trouble on these electronic exchanges. Remember, for like each ounce of silver they have in their vaults, they have like 500 claims on the silver. Now, I know I shouldn't say it, but really those paper claims, those electronic forms of silver, they're nothing more than unicorn fart dust. And I'm sure you know what happens when the unicorn stops farting. The price of physical, that will determine the price of gold and silver. The actual physical price. What can you buy physical for? That's going to be a good day. The bear, he's going to get his blindfold taken off, and we're going to have a big party here in Ron's Basement. Did I tell you already? Thanks for joining me. It means the world. I hope you enjoy your stay. Again, don't forget, subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. Now let's move on to the economy. Did you notice how Thursday was the big story of the week? Did you hear people saying it was the biggest story in a year? Not of the year, because we're only like 2 weeks into the year, of a year. The CPI numbers that came out, and they were like perfectly in line with all the expectations. I mean, I've never seen it so like matching what the analysts said. It was just like perfectly in line. And the big thing to remember, inflation is coming down, right? The market reacted favorably. Gold and silver reacted favorably. As the Fed continues to crash the economy, yes, inflation will continue to go down. Jeffrey Gundlach even brought up the idea that we might be headed for deflation, because how can the Fed like perfectly stop the pendulum swinging back when it's coming down right at 2%? Well, they could do it by putting out faulty numbers, but they'd never do that now, would they? No, they wouldn't, would they, Bear? No. He talks to Jerome Powell at the Federal Reserve. Where do you think Jerome gets his real data from? Look, the Bear listens to me, I listen to you, and Jerome, he listens to the Bear. The economy, it stinks. Yesterday, I took my daughters to Chick-fil-A. They were off school, so we went to Chick-fil-A for lunch. And the one by my house, it's down in this area. I call it the world's biggest strip mall. It used to be called the Gumbo Flats, but now it's called the Chesterfield Valley. And it's got every, Target, Walmart, every store you could ever imagine. It's the world's biggest strip mall, and every restaurant you could ever imagine. Chick-fil-A there, Chick-fil-A, whatever you call it, it's usually packed. I mean, like, you wouldn't believe how crowded it is. And we went there on a Friday right at lunchtime when all the schools were out, and I thought it's going to be a madhouse. Now, Chick-fil-A, that's That's like a step up from McDonald's or something like that. The place was more empty than I've ever seen. So the Chick-fil-A indicator is that the economy's not doing that great right now. And if you talk to people in the car business, like I have, it's not doing great right now. Don't even try to talk to somebody in the real estate business because it's not doing well at all. Guys, this aggressive policy by the Fed, a lot of those things have lagging effects, and it's just now starting to feed through at a time when Americans have more credit card debt than ever in history, and they're paying the highest rate ever on that credit card debt in history, and they're running out of savings. People are depleting their savings just to live. Credit cards and savings to live. That doesn't work long term. I know you're watching, Jerome, so I'm not going to let you down. I'm going to talk about the Federal Reserve. This week, big news. Jerome had a speech on Wednesday, I think in Switzerland or Sweden or somewhere like that, one of those countries that starts with an S that's far to the east from where I live, and it was the biggest nothing burger on the face of the planet. He did not talk about the economy. He did not talk about monetary policy, and the silence was deafening. Look, guys, a lot of times it's more important what people don't say as opposed to what they do say, and I find it very suspicious. I don't know how you feel about it that he didn't mention anything about the two aforementioned points. He talked about the green initiative and the environment and how the Fed's not really responsible for that. It was a little deflective, if you know what I mean. And, Jerome, I want to know, why didn't you talk about those two things? I've taken up enough of your time already, so I'm just going to touch briefly. Geopolitically, the world is still splitting. Bifurcating, that's a big word to use. We can use that if we want to impress people. The world is changing right now like it hasn't in the last 50, 60 years, probably since World War II. We don't realize it because it's kind of happening around us. We're kind of like, fish in a fish tank. We don't really see it, but it is happening. And maybe we do see it because we're the type of people who do like to take a step back and look at the big picture. See the forest through the trees. Dive into the deep end. We do that together, right? And what we come up with is a thesis, an idea as to what is likely to happen in the future. And when we look at that forest and we look past that forest, many of us see a big pot of gold and a big pot of silver, because remember, they've held their value for 5,000 years. Also remember, right, it's easy to feel like we're not part of the herd because we're not part of the herd. We are like 0.5%, like 1 in 200 people who have their money in precious metals, in precious metal mining stocks. When the herd wakes up and they want to run over to join us, even just a few of them, the flood of money could be tremendous. Now look, there's no guarantee that is going to happen. For me personally, that's what I do see likely happening. It's important you make up your own mind. Do your own due diligence. Come up with your own thesis. Never take too much risk. Get rid of debt and make sure you, yes, you, the one and only you, the apple of your mommy's eye, make sure you come back to Ron's Basement. And I forgot my joke in the last video, so if you're still here, right, you're going to get the joke right now. What falls in winter and never gets hurt? That would be snow. Have a great weekend. I'll see you soon.